Hello, my friends. Welcome once again to Spiritism, a closer look. You are on Kardec Radio, and we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Uh, as always, I usually say if you have any questions, any suggestions, if you want to bring any information for us to share here, discussions, suggest topics for discussion, you have the contacts down here on your screen. So just feel free to get in touch with us. Okay, so tonight we are going to take a closer look at the road ahead. The road ahead. Of course, we know, that there's a lot of things that still have to happen in our lives. It will happen to our lives. We know our destination. That's a well-known thing. Our destination is to be perfect. And between now and the destination, a lot of things will happen. Some of them are short range, some of them are on the mid run, some of them are on the long run. So there's still a lot. And this is Christmas coming up, Christmas celebration coming up this weekend. So we are going to kind of talk about both a little bit. Okay, so the road ahead. We are going to base our talk, it's a vast subject. We could be talking for hours and hours and hours here. That's not the point. It would be pretentious to even try to bring everything on the subject here. We can't do that. So we are going to pick a chapter in this book here, Our Daily Bread. We are going to pick one chapter. It's chapter number 20. And the name of the chapter is The Journey. The Journey. So we are going to read through a little bit, not the entire chapter, just a few passages, a few phrases actually, and we're going to comment on it. But the whole idea is this, the journey, what lies ahead for us. So this is by Spirit Emmanuel. He wrote the book through the hands of Chico Xavier in Brazil. So the chapter starts like this. It is always important to carry on in the quest for definitive spiritual growth. It's the first phrase. So let me just remind you that, as we know from Spiritist codification, spiritual growth or moral growth, moral progress comes after intellectual progress. Intellectual progress comes first. So we develop a sense of how to make better choices, and then we make better choices. So choosing morally something better comes after learning the method or learning how to do that. So intellectual progress will always come before moral progress. So the phrase was, it is always important to carry on in the quest for definitive spiritual growth. He continues, it is indispensable to press on, overcoming obstacles and darkness, transforming all afflictions and difficulties into steps of ascension. Okay, so we need to break this down in parts. It's a phrase that has a lot in it. It's not too long, but it has a lot of ideas behind it. So we're going to go in different layers here. So the first part, it is indispensable to press on, overcoming obstacles and darkness. He's talking about spirit life, right? What is, for the spirit, what is an obstacle? What is an obstacle? It's not a wall, it's not something physical. An obstacle is everything and anything that slows down spiritual or moral progress. Anything that does that. regardless of the source, how it came about. We're not going into this right now. That's not what the chapter is about. But it is something that, slows moral progress. That's an obstacle for the spirit. For the most part, the obstacles are ourselves. Very frequently. Rarely, we are not the obstacles. Because the obstacles, they will come, they will show up in front of us, per se, because of what happened in the past. They are consequences of things and actions and situations of the past. And those situations, they work one way or another, directly or not, created by ourselves. Some of these obstacles are created because our impositions, we impose things on people, on situations that we want this thing to develop one way only, my way. Anything else, any different outcome is no good. So we impose our desire to have people and situation complying to what I think it should be. That is in itself an obstacle. Because it's like me saying to you, there are, let's just say, 3 ways to go from my house to the supermarket. But never use the first and the second way. Only do the third way. That's the only good path to get there. So you see, there's nothing wrong with number 1 and number 2. I decided to eliminate because I want to go through number 3, and that's it. And everybody should use the same path, number 3. But that does not invalidate 1 and 2. There are still feasible paths that will take me to the supermarket. So we tend to impose on people and on situations. We create situations because of that. And they will show up later in our lives as obstacles. So that's what I'm saying. For the most part, we are the obstacles ourselves. Rarely. It's something different than that. So obstacles and darkness, as Emmanuel says in the text, these are our vices. These are spiritual influences that we allow to prey upon us. But how come do we allow these spiritual influences to prey upon us? Because of our thoughts. We attract those that have the same thoughts that we do. So if we have evil thoughts of any kind, we are attracting spirits that subscribe to that same way of thinking. And they will prey upon us. They will force us they will slow us down. They will slow us down because now we have to deal with a completely different situation, unexpected situation. It's like, for example, if you go from here, you take your car and you go into a highway and you get a flat tire, you're still going to go ahead, but you have to stop for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get the tire fixed, replace it, and go ahead. So when the tire as the tire has to be fixed, that time you're not going ahead. You're just dealing with a situation. So when these spirits prey upon ourselves, it slows us down because now we have to deal with them. Other types of obstacles. For example, if you get bad news, family illness, family death, anything in that sense, loss of loved ones. It's we need our time to for that whatever news sink in. We need to calm down. We need to, we will most likely rethink our life for a few days at least, if not longer. And that will, open different ideas, different paths, and that will slow us down a little bit. There are situations, unfortunate situations, where people never get past the loss of a loved one. For example, when they were very young or kids, they lost a father, a mother, or somebody really close, a loved one, and they have a hard time overcoming that. So, so bad news, can cause this. However, what slows down is not the news. It's not the news. It's how we interpret and deal with the news. It depends a lot more on us than anything else. And it's different for everyone. Okay, the text continues. And here's the next idea he brings in. However, we must clarify the characteristics of the journey for the acquisition of eternal values. It's going parts here. What are eternal values? Acquisition of eternal values. Acquisition of what exactly? Nothing material is eternal. Nothing. Eternal are the attributes of the spirit, the soul. Virtues. That's what we need to acquire. Virtues. Throw out or discard, with time, of course, discard the vices and acquire. That's the acquisition of virtues. So there's a journey. That's the journey to leave, the vices behind and start acquiring new things. What new things? Eternal values, virtues. So that's the journey. So for that journey to be productive, it's necessary to pay attention to certain things, certain elements. For example, searching for your potential or potentials not necessarily includes having a vast financial wealth. Not necessarily includes having a position of power. It could or could not. It's irrelevant, because these are temporary situations that you deal with in the material realm. See, wealth and power are not for everyone, because wealth and power, they add struggles that might not be on site for you in this life. It was not part of your programming. And suddenly you hit the lottery, for example, and you get millions of dollars. Then you have to deal with that. And not necessarily it's an easy thing. For most people, it becomes a challenge. So wealth and power, for example, you will have, all of us, we will have the opportunity for mastering power and wealth. It just might not have to be in this life, right? So we have to make sure that we understand that the journey is not about being rich and controlling everybody or being power. No, it's not. Emmanuel continues. It is indispensable to press on, overcoming obstacles and darkness, transforming all afflictions and difficulties into steps of ascension. Okay, so overcoming all these obstacles that we discuss here, transforming affliction and difficulties in stepping stones. Afflictions and difficulties are nothing else other than results of the existence of obstacles and darkness. Once they exist, because we created, we are going to go through afflictions and difficulties. There are consequences of it. And these obstacles and darkness, they generate different types of affliction and difficulties for different people. It's not the same for everyone. It's not the same for everyone. For example, loss of a loved one. It could mean one thing. For example, two people in the same family. Let's just say two brothers or sisters or two siblings. The father dies. One takes in a very hard way. The other doesn't really care much. It's not the same. The event is the same, but the way it is processed by each spirit is not the same. Not necessarily the same. So instead of having these obstacles and darknesses bring us down, the goal is to make them, to transform them into stepping stones that will get us to the next level. It's a learning process. It's a lesson. Those are lessons. That's how we, advance in life. In our lifetime here, that we advance a lot based on stepping stones that in the past we just thought they were problems, and not necessarily. Once you get out of a problem, once you overcome the problem, you know how to overcome that kind of situation. You're never going to go through it again. Or if you ever have to go through it again, you know how to get out because you've learned the lesson. You experience. That's your lab. Earth is it's a lab for the soul. It's a lab for the soul. He continues. It is imperative to carry on, but the journey is the responsibility of the eternal spirit in the arena of inner acquisitions. It's imperative to carry on, meaning you can't stop progress. Can't. It will happen sooner or later. So let's make it happen sooner, right? It's a lot better. It's a lot easier. The journey, as Emmanuel says, is responsibility of the spirit. So again, this is personal. It cannot be outsourced. It cannot be outsourced. And it's something different for everyone. So it's almost like a proprietary. They're not two of the same. And here we'll conclude the message. I'm not getting the entire message of the chapter, but the most important parts. This is the last paragraph. It is important to work to know oneself, to enlighten oneself, and to listen to Christ each and every day. Listen to Christ means what he brought us, what he taught. And it continues. In order to imprint this lesson, Christ's lessons, within us, we have been born on the earth to share in its struggles and to spend its bodies. And on it, we will be reborn again. So what does it mean? We have to go to the lab to imprint the Christ's lessons by practicing it. The lab is called Earth. It's a planet, it's an orb for spirits that need to go to a lab to undergo trials and expiations. That's our lab. And it's very clear to imprint the lesson within us, not in the brain. It's not a brain thing. It's a soul thing. And he tells us we need to reborn again. We will be reborn again because it's too much to do in one lifetime. We can't. We have to do in baby steps. So we come back a little bit at a time. We are going to develop our ability to learn more about the things of the soul, a little bit more in each life, until we get to perfection, until we retain all that knowledge. So that's what the road ahead is. And of course, like the message says, we need to work on it. It cannot be outsourced. Certain things will happen faster, just maybe next month, certain things later in life, certain things on another life or other lives that will be ahead of us. And in talking to short range, this week here is a celebration week. We're celebrating several different things. Christmas for some, Hanukkah for others, New Year's for most people because of the economy is based on a Christian calendar. So it's a time for celebration. It's a time. It's the holiday, right? Party, and that's another thing. We once a year we go to these parties, right? It only happens once a year, a Christmas party. And then it's a family thing. Essentially, it's a family thing. So families got together. We have the opportunity to see people that we only see once a year, or rarely, not even once a year, because different people live in different places, countries, states, cities. So we don't have the opportunity to see all of these people in a regular basis. So we will see people that we haven't seen for a year or more. And then there's always that family member that we don't like. You say, oh, that person's going to be there. Oh, please don't do this. Don't do that. That person is your stepping stone. That is the stepping stone right there, right there. You see, the party is not about ourselves being the center of attention, because in a way that everyone has to comply to what we desire on the party. I desire that these 3 people don't show up. No. If those 3 people are in your list, or blacklisted, if you will, right? It means you have three stepping stones in there, at least 3. Those are opportunities. Those are the family members that will make us understand that there is a struggle, and the struggle is within, is not the person. Because the person might be in the party, and you are in the party. You look at the person, and it triggers you something that you don't like. And the person might be not even looking at you, didn't even see you. So you see, it's an internal thing. It's a thing of the soul, like Emmanuel says. It's something within. So that is our stepping stones. These are the people we need to approach, and start with a saying hi or something. Well, we haven't seen in a little while. Oh, last time I saw you was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or even more, whatever. They're not going to bite. They're not going to bite. It depends on how you approach them. Approach with your heart, not with your brain and full of strategy and all the answers, all the ifs. So if he does that, I'm going to reply this way. If this, no. This is brain. Christmas celebration has nothing to do with brain. It has to do with the heart. We are celebrating, obviously, we already know this, we hear this every year, but we are celebrating much more than the birth of a certain person, okay? Which is, we don't even know what date that was. But regardless, we're celebrating the values that were brought to us by him. We are celebrating the values. We are celebrating the opportunity to be on the road ahead, seeking to align with those values. They were well established, well demonstrated, and well taught by him. He brought everything to us. So now it's for us to make them stepping stones. Nothing that he said is contrary to being on the way to perfection. Of course, at the time, a lot of people didn't understand, put him on the cross. Don't do this. Because every time we disrespect somebody in the party, for example, that we are all going to go throughout the next couple of weeks, don't disrespect everyone. You're in the party to celebrate the values. So celebrate yourself, your accomplishments, the values that you incorporated in the past year, in the past, few months or so. Incorporated within. It's in your soul. Things that you learned, not with the brain, with the heart. Situations that you had to deal with that made you think or rethink, oh, this and that. Okay, these are all accomplishments. All of us, we are on our best incarnation ever. So why not celebrate if this is the best we've ever known? Right? So when we go to celebrate with our family members and so, let's celebrate it. Let's celebrate it. Well, I wanted to bring this to you tonight so you can think about it. Go ahead, enjoy. Enjoy it with your family members, with all of you, that people that you haven't seen in a while. And next week, it's going to be the last week that we do the program of this year. Not the last program, just this year. There's more coming up next year. A lot of different things next year. So, again, enjoy. Party time. Respect. And never forget, stepping stones. Go say hello to those that you don't like. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Christmas time.